Amazing. Here we go. Welcome everyone to one of my 2025 episodes of Let's Talk Horses. I'm not sure when this episode's going to come out, but I'm so excited. The first time I've ever had my next guest on Let's Talk Horses, and I'm going to do my best to pronounce your full name, and then we'll see how we go, and you can correct me. So thank you so much, my special guest, Carolyn Kovari Szajman.
Yes, Szajman. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining me. So I was sort of doing a bit of stalking of you before the episode, which I often do with my guests, all in fun. And you've got quite a cool life and quite a cool story. So I'm excited in the next 30 minutes because the podcast is called Let's Talk Horses, and inevitably we talk a lot about horses, but it's definitely weaved throughout my guests' lives and really talking more about the story of you and getting a little bit of an insight into your life and just how horses have been a part of that. So the first thing I love asking my guests is, how did horses come into your life?
Okay. First, I'd like to say I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much. And what an amazing energy. So horses, when you ask, like the first horses came into my life when I was very little. My father used to take me to go horseback riding. It was very common in Brazil to take the kids. And then when I was 7, a horse kicked me in the mouth and I had to do a surgery in a public hospital in Bahia. And and it was like a big shock. And after that, I never had like something with horses, but there was always something about horses that people projected to me, like, and then after a couple of years, when I was like 11, I went to Paraguay. It's in South America, Paraguay near Brazil, and we went horseback riding with wild horses, and it was amazing. Like, was something, and I had like a connection, something that I always look forward for that. But then with life, I never had the chance to go with horses again. Mm-hmm. And then I went to many places and many things, and it took me like 30 years, more than 30 years, no, a little less than 30 years, like almost 30 years to connect again with horses. It was one day there was a call from Megan with Susie Gotzi, and they were talking about like conscious horse, conscious rider, and there was so much energy that I was like, wow, what is this? And I listened to it, and immediately I bought my ticket and I went to Spain.
Wow.
For a class in Spain. And I did like the CF training and the regular class, and then the CF training. And I was so afraid of horses. I didn't know how to hold them. And I was afraid to be in the horse, like over the horse, to walk in the horse and everything. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to change this. And I was really, 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 really like, how would I say the word? Willing to change. Whatever points of view and the thing in my mouth from when I was little, all the projections, the fears I bought, everything. And it happened. Like, it was amazing. Like the first class, everything that like took place in that class, the connection with the horses, the trust exercise. I immediately connected to the earth. The horse showed me how it's connected to everything with the earth and the ants and everything. And there was so much change in my life, and I perceive how the clarity that was required to have with everything. So to create my life, the clarity to really know what I wanted to create, the information to give to the horses. So this is how horses. I gave a lot of stories, but then it was just like, because I had to go through something, a break to open something that was closed for me.
Yeah. And I often look at this because a lot of people that I have on this podcast, but also people that I meet in general, have had like a journey that's, not the same as this, but similar in a way, where something with horses came up. And whether it was like, you know, like your case where it was kind of like a bad injury or something's happened there, but it sets them on a different path. And I often think about myself, and I think, because, you know, I've been very obsessed with horses from a young age, but we never had the money to really do anything. Like it's quite an expensive hobby to have if you want to be, you know, a horse owner or someone that rides regularly. So I didn't get into it until, like, I didn't own my first horse until I was in my 30s. And, you know, now I'm in my 40s, and I'm finally kind of getting to this stage where I have horses in my life consistently. And I'm like, I feel like if it had been a different path, I wouldn't be exploring this, like discovering what horses are for me and what they're truly here to show us and to gift us in the world. And I think the tools of Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider, and the tools of Access Consciousness is this really different exploration with horses. It's so different to anything else in the world. Yeah. Yeah. And so can you talk a little bit about then, like, what in between, like when it wasn't horse stuff, I was reading in a little bit about you before this. You explored a lot of different paths with the earth. You've studied marine biology. And do you want to talk a little bit about those parts of your life as well? That connection with the earth?
Yeah. Yes. So since I was very little, I had this connection with the earth. Since I remember, and I remember things from when I was 6 months. Like one of my first memories was when I was 1 year old. I asked my mom how old I was, and she was, "You're almost 1 year old." We were in a beach in Brazil, and there was a lot of how do you call that? The ones that sting you, the jellyfish, and I remember the jellyfish. So this was always like this thing with the earth, the planet, everything, like this communion. It's like very much part of me, my being, you know, something that I used to have a teacher that he would say, usually people come here and they try to understand the connection to everything. And he said, for you, it's like you're connected to everything, trying to understand who are you, you know, when you are perceiving so much. And it was interesting, this perception of his. And so this was since I was little. And then there was a point where I was so connected. I was living in Brazil still, and I was very connected to the rivers and to the trees, and wherever there was an animal, I would look and it would be there. And then I moved and I had to move. There was a call for my family to go live near the ocean. So we moved to Florida, and we stayed there for 5 years. And when we were there, I would go do beach cleanups. I would go walk in the beach and talk to the animals and just be there in the wild nature. And then it came to me to study marine conservation biology. So I went to do marine conservation biology, and it was amazing because the first class I took, the teacher was awesome. And she showed us how everything is connected through science. Like every animal connects to another animal, and if it's not doing well, it will impact everything. So it was like this, the communion really. So for me, it was like I would go to these classes and I would leave the class. I was completely in awe of, wow, it's amazing how. So it was amazing to see that the things that I would already feel would have in me to be explained. You know, someone to talk about it.
Yeah. That's
amazing. And after that, I did many other things. I went to study other things. I used to also to work with Miami Waterkeeper. There was like the keepers of the water, in Miami, like an organization.
Wow. And so what part of Brazil did you grow up in? Were you in the city?
In São Paulo, in the city. And we always have a house. My father will always have a house somewhere. So every weekend we would travel somewhere with nature. So at the beach for a couple of years, then somewhere else, like in the countryside. So we will always be traveling a lot. And I lived many places too. I lived in Switzerland, United States twice.
Wow. And I mean, growing up in Brazil, would you say Brazilian people naturally have that connection with the earth? Like, is it something that is part of your culture, or was it something that you more discovered as something individual?
Good question. I'm asking this question. I'm like looking to my sister in a way. I think something more individual. I used to be also a bodyboarder when I was like 17. I used to, every weekend I would go to the ocean to bodyboard. It was something I always had in me. And also when I was very little, we used to go to a summer camp in Brazil, like near where I am right now. I am now in my farm. It's amazing. It's full of waterfalls and trees. It's a huge forest. I will send you a picture later. So it's amazing. And I used to come to a place near here and we would go do hikings when I was like 8 until I was 11. And I would love that. We would go do hikings in the middle of the forest and just lied in the mountains and really wild. And for me, and I would feel so alive and I would be so happy. It was the best place of the whole thing was when we would do that. So this was something I was always looking for. It was something that it was inside of me, like as a question, how can I have more of this, you know? Yeah. And yeah. So
was that your dad? Like, was it your dad that had that adventurous spirit that was always introducing you guys to those places? Or do you think you were more the one that was like...
Was me more the one, yeah. I'm someone, I'm always traveling. This year I travel like for access class, I went to 8. It's a lot I live in Brazil. I don't know whatever a lot means. Yeah. And I travel a lot. I went to swim with dolphins. Yeah. I went to I got certified in Italy for the conscious horse rider. It was my 3rd class, my 3rd CF. And I was like, now I'm ready. I have horses. Not that I required that, but then it was something that I was like, now I feel confident. I got something that it was required for me that is always changing. But yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like, something that, yeah.
Yeah. It's like you have a very keen self-awareness, like you're very aware of like the things around you and what's required. And it's so interesting we're talking about the ocean because I grew up in Australia and a lot of what you're saying is similar to my childhood. Like, we grew up in suburbia, like, there were trees around and stuff, but it was, not a lot of countryside or land. But my stepdad, my mum's partner, he was a surfer. So every weekend, every school holidays, we were going to the beach, camping on the beach, exploring different beaches. And I find it so interesting that people have an affinity with the ocean, with water, have a very similar, I don't know, vibration or energy to people that are like that with horses. Like there's something about, I don't know, I find people that are drawn to the ocean have a very wild, like this wildness to like it's almost like unless they're having that, there's something missing from them. Like it's like they need to have that ocean time, even if it's just for a little while or sporadically or whatever. Like there's something that the ocean gives people. And I find it's very similar with horse people, that there's this thing that, and I don't know if it's like the peace or the wildness in our world, but something that nothing else can give you quite like that. And where horses are so appreciative of people like that because there's some quiet in your world. There's something in your world that the horses can recognize and connect with as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, amazing, beautiful. Yeah. It's like the clarity. It's like something that is clear. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was like 16, the weekends I wouldn't go 17. The weekends I wouldn't go surfing, like bodyboarding. I would have to take a cold shower, and I was like, and it was something I would be there. And my mom would say, "Your eyes are the color of the ocean because you're required to be there." And I would just be there for 7 hours sometimes because the ocean would be huge, the waves, and I would take a snack, So and it was clear. I just said it clear, like with the horses, how it's clear. You're there. And even if like there was I came back from a lugar in October, and I was a little sick in my stomach. And I arrived and I had a lot of pain. And I arrived here in the farm and I was like, I'm going to the horses. And I arrived there and I had real pain. And I arrived and I say, can you contribute to me, to the horses? Immediately, my pain went away.
Yeah.
And then the space was clear again, and it's different things, but it's,
It's so true. It's so true, though. And how much, like, if you go to your horse or the ocean, like, and you
all
ask
are the
that,
ocean.
and you ask for that contribution, how much they're willing to take care of you, like how much they're willing to contribute anything. If you're willing to just be vulnerable and ask for whatever it is that's showing up, they'll be that for you.
And it's this clarity, like it's so it's clarity in English too, like it's the pure, it's like pure, something, so it's so pure, like it's so pure and so clear. And even like when there's something with the horse that it's so fast, it's just facilitate and it's done. There's no, it's so fast and clear.
There's no explaining. They don't need to explain things or try and figure things out. It's just like change.
So, and then you asked like how the horses came to my life. So after I did the class, everything started changing. I was like, I went to Brazil and I was like, oh, I have this clarity. I never had something like this. It was so clear how I create my life, how the clarity I have to know what I choose to have, what I want, like to have real clarity, like nothing in the middle, you know? And then I started traveling, and everywhere I go, I would say, let's go horseback riding. And I would start taking my family. So I have 4 kids. So everybody will go with me, and my husband too. And then I started taking lessons, horseback riding lessons, in a place near my house. And then the other year I went again to do 2 classes of conscious horse, conscious rider. You were there because I have a video, like that you were holding, like taking me to in the trust exercise. And and then I took it, and then again the other year. And then when I was like, I'm ready. And then I asked, after this class in 2022, I asked the universe, I was like, I'm ready to have my horse. Universe, bring me my horse. And I told a friend. And then this day I woke up and I started seeing a black horse in front of me, like the energy, the image of a black horse. And everywhere where I go, there would be the black horse. And I was like, it's my horse, it's here. And then my friend called me and was like, I found your horse. And I said, it's black. He said, it's black. I said, it's here already. So it was my first, it was amazing.
Wow. And so tell me about your home, your farm. Like, did you have this in order to have horses there, or did you have horses already when you set up your farm? Or
so I used to live in the United States when I had the call of the water that was very strong, and then one day the energy changed and we moved to Brazil. Like in 2 days I packed and I left. The energy changed. It was very fast. It was whoop. And I called my husband, and he was like, he called me and he said he was in Brazil. He was like, you perceived something different? I was like, yeah, the energy changed. He was like, yeah, I perceive. He was like, let's plan to move to Brazil in 6 months. I say, no, if you're moving, it's tomorrow. So I packed, and in 2 days I was in Brazil. Wow. And then when I arrived in Brazil, I saw a house and a waterfall. I started seeing, like, perceiving this energy. I say I saw, but it's not like an image. It's I don't know how to explain because it's so fast, the information. Yeah. I got the awareness, and it was like a house and a waterfall. And then for 1 year, I asked every day, where is the house and the waterfall? Universe, bring me the house and the waterfall. And then I end up coming to this land, and it was like a gift to us. We paid not very expensive, and it's like full of waterfalls. So this came first. This was in 2020. Yep. And then there was another land next to it, the continuation, and it started having energy. And then one day we went there, and the person said, I can sell to you. And we're like, should we buy? Shouldn't we buy? Da, da, da. And then the horses came. So then we would have a place for the horses. So the land came first, and then the horses opened the horses open everything, and the beings of water, and the spirits of nature, and the elementals, and the water, because we are here like there's so much water. Wow. And we are always taken by water, the family, you know, everywhere we go, there's water. It's funny. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And then we start getting horses, as we are many, 6, so one for each, and then more horse, and now we have 11 horses and a mule.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And so your horses at home, do you guys go riding together, or what sort of adventures do you have?
We go riding, we just stay with them. Like now we went to be with it was raining a lot for 2 days, and the rain came down, and we went there and we just stayed there. We stay there, we sit there, we talk to them, just be there with them. Many days we just go and stay there. We don't sometimes we facilitate if there's something, we facilitate them. We do some in the round pit. We do exercise in the round pit if there's a friend and there's energy to do, because sometimes my friends ask and there's no energy for me to do something, to do a dynamic, and when there's something we do, and we go out with the horses a lot. They love to go horseback, ride them. We go riding the horses in amazing places. We do trails, we do many things, and we also don't do and just be there, Usually most of the time I be there with them. I just stay 3-4 hours. I sit in the grass and I'm today we we ran bars, the kids, we changed bars, and the horses were there too. Depends of the day. Yeah.
Wow. And so your black horse, what's is a mare or gelding or?
Yeah, it's a female. Mare. Yeah, mare, right? Yeah. So, we have Luna. Luna, yeah. And she, and she's very potent.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the class, I gave my first conscious rider class here in November, and it was amazing, the class. Wow. It was, there's no words to describe what that class was. And Luna, she would be the whole class standing there looking to us in the fence, looking to us. And there was a moment I said, Luna, you want to come to the class? She did, and then she went running to the door to come out. It was amazing. And she came, and it was amazing.
Wow, potent being.
Yeah, she's very potent, and also she changed a lot from the class. All the horses changed a lot from the class. She was one of the most amazing changes. Before she wouldn't come. We got her from a place where the horses, they weren't very well treated. They didn't care about the horse. And here in Brazil, I don't know if in Australia they still do. How do you call when they mark the horses, brand the horses?
Yep.
They do it in Australia still.
Yep.
Yeah. So she was very branded, in 3 places. But this is not even, not that I have a point of view I used to have. Now I clear my points of view about that. But then she had many things, and she wouldn't come near us. Never. You come, she'll be angry. She had a baby. She came pregnant. When we got her, she was already pregnant. Wow. And after the class, she comes near us. Wow. We can even touch her. It's amazing. The changes from the horses and the people that change in the class.
Yeah. And just how she knew, if she came to you, what the possibilities were. And wow. So do you want to just talk a little bit, do you facilitate conscious horse classes often? Do you have any fun stories from your classes, or things that you can remember of cool changes? Or
I gave my first class in November. Now I have another class in February and one in April. Already there's people sign up. It's gonna happen. I took a while. I got my certification, and I took a while with the energies to be confident. I don't know if the word is confident, but just to and it was amazing. The first class was amazing. And one story is that there was a girl that she went to do the leadership exercise, and I let everyone choose the horse, and she chose the horse, and everybody wanted a male horse. Most of the people they had something with a male, and they wanted male horses to facilitate them. And when she chose a male horse, we have my daughter, she has a horse that has a baby, female, both, of course, female baby horse called Florzinha, little flower.
Oh.
When we opened the gate and the male horse got in, the baby horse went running and went together. And her leadership exercise, there was a lot of things that showed up and came up to her about her relationship with men and how her little daughter, was always in the way. So she could never, and the horse would run and stopping the little horse. It was amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
This was amazing. Everybody was like, wow, what was that? Because the horse, she ran and went in to show this to her, this dynamic.
Yeah, because a foal like that would never run from its mum and be like in a strange place with another horse and strange people. Like that's wow.
Amazing. Yeah.
And I love that about them too, because like we think, oh, I'm going to go to this class or this horse is going to facilitate me on this. And they cut through all of that and go directly to what the actual thing is that's going on for you. And they show that to you with such precision and clarity. Like it's so amazing.
It was amazing. Yeah. There's a girl that she's amazing. Like she's a CF she's a ex-CF. She's amazing. And she did the class too. And in her dynamic, she was doing with a horse inside, and I released 2 horses outside. One was Luna. Luna was asking to go there, and I released Luna and Aurora, the 2 first horses we had. And during her leadership exercise was a lot about her potency, how she would quit things or stop things because of other people, and the horses ran and they left. Like she would leave. It was so amazing. And then afterwards, when they came back and she was willing to change that and be present and put the energy required to move her things forward, like, and without controlling and allowing things to move, the horses start running and kicking, like they were so potent. It was amazing. There's so many stories. This class was amazing.
I know, right? Like the things
that happen in 2 days.
It's like it's so amazing.
Yeah, and all the exercises were antalgic shadows. All the exercise, all that came up all the time. The whole class was very interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
so did you get to do some body processes? Like did the horses get to Yeah. And how have you found that with your horses? Like do you run a lot of access energy and body work on them?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I ran. And you know what was interesting? The day before the class, I went there, and the person that works there told me that my horse, I have another horse called Penelope. Called that Penelope was kicked. She was kicked from another horse, and he told me, and I forgot about it. And I was there talking to the horse, facilitating, just me and the horse would stop and look to me, like I never saw Penelope doing. She would stop and she would be looking to me nonstop, and I would be picking up kick, the word kick in Portuguese nonstop, coice, coice, coice. And I was like, "Are you gonna kick me?" I wasn't getting the thing. Kick. And after, it took me like 30 minutes. I was like, "Oh, you were kicked. You were afraid." And she, like, "Yeah, it's stupid," And I was just very fast. I was like, all the feelings that preceded the trauma from the kick, can we destroy and uncreate it all? That's it. It was gone.
Yeah.
She looked, so like, okay, and she started eating. And it was like, wow, it's so fast. It's so amazing,
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's so amazing. Yeah.
And so I know you're new, quote unquote, at Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider Facilitator. What do you hope to create with it in the world? Does that make sense as a question? Like, what do you, like, as a Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider Facilitator, like, what do you desire to create in the world with horses and these tools?
Wow. It comes more like an energy than something to say. It's like, like to show, like people to be able to see themselves, you know, like with the contribution of a horse, to perceive who they are, like what you said about like the water, and when you are with the horse, like to really find you, you know, like the true you. And be so potent and empowered, right? Like, because that's
that's us and that's them. Like, it's really like those qualities are horse and us. Like, it's really what we share together, the potency and that the true us, like whatever, because it's, I know what you mean, it's so hard to put into words, but it's that one thing that we all have inside of us that's different for every single person. And every horse you meet, they're so different, but they're so the same in that way as well. Like, it's so amazing. I think for me, Carolyn, we're at like the beginning of something brand new to explore together. Like, we've had, you know, 100,000 years or 150,000 years or whatever it is that in history that we've had horses as our helpers, as our workers, as our whatever. But I'm like, what if this was like the beginning of what's truly possible with what they can show us and what we can show them and what we can create together? It's like, totally.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah. Hey, that's 30 minutes. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so
much.
Have
amazing, beautiful energy. Like, I'm like, woo.
I'm going to go and be with my horses now. So I know you got to be with yours before. I'm going to go and spend some time with mine now. So truly, how did we get so lucky? How did we get so lucky to have horses and us people, these conversations? So thank you so much for being on here. I can't wait to see you in the world somewhere again soon. And hopefully we can spend some time with horses together. And maybe in the future, I can have you back on my podcast and we can talk some more about the classes that you're facilitating. And we'll post for people to be able to find you, and obviously if they can get to one of your classes in Brazil, or as you start traveling the world and maybe doing some conscious horse classes in different areas as well. So thank you so much. You are such a gift.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time.